Oh my goodness. And recording, and we're recording. Yes, we are. Got it. All right. Hey guys. Hello, hello. Monday night. It's so good to have, my goodness, there's 16 of us participating tonight. And I know that there's a whole group of you that are watching on the Team Up Facebook page. So hi, I hope you had a great weekend. Let me start. First order of business. First order of business. Way back at the beginning of January, I announced a little incentive, and it had to do with our Preventive Plus bundle, Protective Plus bundle, fruits, berries, and quad at a discounted rate. And I said that your name would go into a drawing for every bundle order that you put in the month of January. So guys, I need to know who's playing. I need to know who's playing. I need to know who's showing up, and I need to know who got new people, on board with the bundle. So please get that information to me. I'm going to put it on Facebook. I'm going to put it on Voxer so that I can announce the winner at the next call. All right. So, hey guys, tonight I really wanted to do a recap of an amazing leadership call that we had last Thursday. And that recap of that business meeting was not submitted to us yet. So I decided, okay, so where am I going to go with this tonight? Because I knew a lot of you would be on the call. And so I thought that I would take you back to this idea, it's the beginning of the year, mindset, and how important mindset is in the development of your business and in the development of your life and your well-being and your health and everything. So two significant things happened to me early on in the business. All right. The first significant thing was that David Beavers asked me about 18 months into my business if I was ready to make this my career. And of course, I eventually said yes, and the power of making a decision. But we're not going to go there tonight. We're not going to go with the power of making a decision. And hey, I've been asked to train next week for Lauren LaHave. And so I will be sharing a lot of this on Lauren's call next week. The second most significant thing that happened to me early on, and I am so grateful for this because it completely changed the trajectory of my life, was when Sean Myers put up a transparency. Yes, transparencies is what we used 28 years ago. And he said in this transparency, you get to decide what you're going to believe. And what you believe will determine what you experience in your life. And guys, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. And that was like, it was like somebody threw cold water on my face. Because I have to tell you, the first 38 years of my life, all I thought about was being a victim, because I had a very challenging upbringing. And I thought about it morning, noon, and night, and I was kind of obsessed about it. And Sean Myers is telling me in this transparency that you get to decide what you're going to believe, and what you believe is what you'll experience in your life. It was shortly after that I made the decision that I was going to stop being a victim. I didn't know how that was going to happen, but I made a decision that I was going to stop being a victim. And it's amazing what starts to show up when you make decisions and you pray on things. And that led me to some amazing mentors. And it also led to me to start to study what it was that Sean Myers was talking about when he made that statement. And I've kind of since then expanded on that a little bit, because it's the truth. It's absolutely the truth. And I came up with this statement about your beliefs, and it's all part of your mindset. And I've been saying this for years, but I'm going to restate it again, that your mindset, my friends, is the sum total of your beliefs, values, identity, expectations, attitudes, habits, decisions, opinions, and thought patterns about yourself, about others, how life works. It's the filter through which you interpret what you see and experience. And here's the kicker, guys. Your mindset shapes your life, and it draws to you results that are an exact reflection of it. My friends, what you believe will happen will happen. And if you don't question your mindset and your beliefs, then you are operating on autopilot. You're operating on autopilot. And what happens then is that we're no longer choosing our beliefs and mindsets, but they nevertheless cause us to live our lives in a certain way. We create our beliefs and our mindset, but at some point, our mindset creates us. So for an example, if you don't question the belief that life is hard, you're going to keep struggling without ever knowing why. And my friends, you have heard me talk about this if you're ever doing one-on-one coaching. That is the foundation of what is called quantum physics. That is the foundation of quantum physics. And that's what we're going to talk about a little bit tonight. I'm going to show you a clip from one of my mentors, Joe Dispenza. But quantum physics says everything that we see is made up of things that we cannot see, itty bitty tiny particles. And these are photons and atoms and molecules. And what scientists, physicists have noticed is that when you pay attention to these itty bitty little particles, they expand, they expand. And my friends, how often have you heard in this business, what you focus on expands and grows? That's quantum physics. Oh, and here's something for those of you that like to study scripture. I found this fascinating years and years ago. Do you know what holds these photons and molecules and subatomic particles together? Do you know what holds them together? Light. And in the very first verse in Genesis, what does it say? Let there be light. Wow. Quantum physics. So what you focus on expands and grows. It is the truth. So tonight I thought that I would showcase for you, it's a 9-minute video from Dr. Joe Dispenza. He's one of my newer mentors. Well, actually it's something I've been studying with him now for years and years. But he takes a look at how our beliefs shape what we experience in our lives. This is what I know is true, guys. Most people wake up every single morning thinking about the past, about the pain of the past, the struggle of the past, the guilt of the past, or they focus immediately on the stress of the future. What if we could start focusing on the possibility of the present? What if we could start focusing on, that's why gratitude is so important, gratitude of the present. And what you're going to hear in this is that it's your thoughts and the emotion that's attached to the thought, the emotion that's attached to the thought that shapes what you experience in your life. Many of you who coach with me one-on-one have heard me say over and over again, you'll see it because we have these goals. You'll see it when you believe it. All right, so Kathy, take notes, guys, because this, and remember as Kathy's getting ready to roll this, what's the first law of learning? Awareness is the first law of learning. Okay, Kathy, 9 minutes with Dr. Joe Dispenza.
Down your life feeling sorry for yourself and feeling like a victim, you are broadcasting that signature into the field, and you will create more experiences to suffer. What is the simple definition of quantum? Quantum physics says that your mind and matter are so intimately connected that it's impossible to separate the two. That matter has a mind, and mind is in matter. And you can't pull them apart. And so Newtonian physics, the world we live in, is the physics of the predictable. Okay, we're going to shoot a rocket to the moon. We need to know the distance, we need to know the speed, and because we can figure out all of those elements, we could say that Newtonian physics, we can predict where we're going. We can predict how much time it takes. But the quantum model of reality is about the unpredictable. It's about this place of uncertainty. And so in quantum physics, it's amazing because when they started studying the very tiny particles in atoms, like electrons and photons, they expected that those particles would behave like planets rotating around the sun, predictably, but they don't. They respond to mind. And so now, all of a sudden, the quantum physicist comes along to measure the electron. And the electron goes from a wave of possibility, and all that energy collapses into a particle, and it's called collapsing the wave function. They turn their back and no longer look and observe the electron, and it turns back into energy. So mind is affecting matter. So, I have drank martinis with quantum physicists till sunrise, hundreds of times. And they always say, well, the observer effect works really well for the tiny, small subatomic particles, but not for the very large. And I always say the same thing to them. Yeah, the observer does work for the very tiny and not for the very large. But what if we're poor observers? What if we can get better at observation? In other words, if you wake up every morning and you do the same thing that you've been doing for the last 10 years, then you're caught in the predictable world of Newtonian physics. And if you're doing the same thing over and over again, we can take your past and lift it up and set it on your future, and it's going to be exactly the same. So then if you're viewing your life from the same level of mind every single day, then you are collapsing the same possibilities into the same reality. So if you teach people then to find the present moment, in quantum physics, all possibilities exist in the present moment. But most people's brains are anticipating the future based on the past, and they're not present. So then it requires training. It requires people retreating from their lives and practicing finding the present moment and beginning to change their habits and their thoughts and their behaviors. However, when you live by the hormones of stress, most people don't know this, but there's an invisible field of energy around your body. And when you react to someone or something, you draw from this invisible field and you turn it into chemistry. And the field around your body shrinks. How do I know? I measured it. And now you're more matter and less energy. You're more particle and less wave. And most people then, when you are matter trying to change matter, you always try to force the outcome. You try to control the outcome. You try to predict the outcome. And people then get competitive, or they hold on, or they manipulate, or they cheat, or they steal, because that's the only way they can get what they want. But the quantum model of reality, when you are truly in the present moment, and we've measured this in brain scan after brain scan, you forget that you're a woman. You forget your name. You forget your age. You forget your culture. You forget your past. You forget your future. You forget that you have a body. You forget that you have parents. When you're truly in the present moment, you go from putting your attention on your body, your environment, and time, to becoming nobody. No one, no thing, nowhere, in no time. You become a thought alone in possibility. And if you are going to heal your body by thought alone, or change something in your life by thought alone, then you have to become thought alone. And teaching people how to linger in this place of the unknown is what begins to change their energy. We also measured when a person begins to open their heart and they can begin to sustain an elevated emotion. They begin to broaden the magnetic field around their body to 9 meters wide. Now they're more energy than matter. They're more wave than particle. And they can exert better effects on reality. So then think of when you open your heart, this is science, like dropping a pebble in water. You produce a ripple. If you drop a bigger stone, you produce a bigger ripple. If you're able to sustain that state, you keep dropping the same rock over and over again, and you broadcast a signature into the field. The emotion is the magnetic charge. Your intention, your thought, is the information that's carried on that wave. And when you combine a clear intention with an elevated emotion, you begin to produce an effect on matter. You see, the thoughts that you think are the electrical charge in the quantum field. The feelings that you emote are the magnetic charge in the quantum field. And how you think and how you feel broadcasts an electromagnetic signature that influences every single atom in your life. The thought sends the signal out, and the feeling draws the event back. So if you're walking around your life feeling sorry for yourself and feeling like a victim, you are broadcasting that signature into the field, and you will create more experiences to suffer. And sin is an attitude, and sin is how you think and how you feel. It takes training, and it takes practice, and it takes learning new information and deprogramming ourselves into believing that we're limited. Because just like people believe that an infection can produce a disease amongst the community, I believe that wellness is as infectious as disease. But if you're living by the hormones of stress and you have no energy, no field, then you can't produce an effect on matter. So then, life is about the management of energy. And where you place your attention is where you place your energy. And if your attention is on the knowns and in the predictable future, or your attention is on the familiar emotions of the past, you are siphoning energy out of the present moment, and you have no energy to create with. Getting people beyond their identity, getting people beyond their past, getting people beyond predicting their future, getting people beyond their faces or their wardrobes or their sports cars or their importance, getting beyond all those things is when they begin to make contact with the quantum field. You can't enter the quantum field as a somebody. You have to enter as a nobody. And when you're able to do this and practice it really well, you will begin to do what's innately your birthright, and that is to create an unknown or wonderful experience in your life. So it just takes practice in order to do it.
Did that blow your hair back? I hope it did. I hope that kind of blew your hair back. You know, guys, I've been looking at this for 28 years. I could probably write a book called Quantum Physics for Dummies, because I've read things that I don't understand and have gone back. But a really good friend of mine, a mentor, told me once, this is how you can easily sum it up. What you think about and what you feel about is what you bring about. And then another mentor of mine, John DeMartini, said, well, Terry, let's put some light on that comment. What you think about and what you think about is what you bring about. There's a lot to this, guys. And, you know, for years and years, I've been saying that awareness is the first law of learning. And this is why. Because until you become aware that, you know, you're living in the past over and over and over again, until you become aware of the anger that's still in you, the victim that's in you, you will continue to experience that in your life. Okay, and until you become aware that as soon as you open your eyes in the morning, you're in a stressful situation, then you're not going to change. All right, so awareness is the first law. It's the first law of learning. And that's why Tony Robbins does programs on your emotional home. What he's teaching is quantum physics. When Bob Proctor, God bless his soul, passed away last week, you know, I just cried like a baby for years. And he talks about setting goals and, you know, living from that place of outcome. What he's teaching is quantum physics. When Carl Jung, incredible psychotherapist, trains, he's teaching they just don't call it that, but that's what this is. That's what this is. So I just wanted, as we're moving into 2022 and we've become obsessed, and we get up every morning and we think about what's going on in the world. We think about the mandates and the regulations and people turning on each other. I mean, I'm going to encourage you to shift your focus to love and gratitude. Because remember, it's the emotion attached to the thought that shapes our reality. And right now we live in a reality of a planet of people who are afraid. So it starts with us. You know, that great philosopher, Michael Jackson, said, I'm looking at the man in the mirror. Okay, I'm looking at the man. So that's where it starts. So if you guys want to, you know, maybe unmute yourselves and, you know, take a look at this, and any comments that you might have. Did you have an aha moment that you'd like to share? I'd love to hear it. Don't be afraid. Remember, I teach quantum physics for dummies.
Terry, I'll share. Terry and I were talking today. I'm in the middle of getting ready to move, and there's lots of moving pieces and parts going around in my life and in my world. And so I was actually talking to Terry about how I just kind of things keep going over and over and over again. And so listening to this tonight was really powerful, because it just reminded me to like rise up. And yes, it's okay to feel certain things, but not to stay in the place of spinning, because it sucks your energy. It exhausts you. And it, you know, lays you out flat. And before you know it, you're like, oh my gosh, I have no energy to do the things that I need to do right now, because you've sat in the space of spinning. So.
Yeah. And I think, yeah. And we had a great conversation today, and mind and matter are connected, you know, so whatever's going on in here is going on in your world. And so this is so where do you start? Okay, so a good friend of mine, Cheryl Cortese, for years and years and years and years, when you made it to the second level in this business, which is now QSC, you got a little gift in the mail from her. It was a book from Joseph Murphy called The Power of the Subconscious Mind. And so if you're the least bit interested, I would absolutely, absolutely encourage you. I would encourage you to get the book, The Power of the Subconscious Mind. All right. Because guys, you know, we're kind of co-creators in this game called life. All right. And one of the things that I learned while I studied the quantum field is that, you know, our thoughts and our emotions create reality. And that's why prayer is so powerful. When a group of people come together, okay, and the thought and the emotion is to bless, and, you know, and our petitions are to bless, can you now see why prayer is so powerful? Because mind affects matter. All right, guys, I didn't know I was, what was that?
It's Sarah. I just wanted to mention something about prayer. So I'm with you 100%. I love Joe Dispenza. He's amazing. Two things. So two quick ones. One is I got a hat. I actually would encourage anyone to go to Beacon Threads. It's a really wonderful family business. And my hat says walk by faith. And I wear it as much as I can. And I literally get people staring at me because they're so frozen in fear. And it opens up conversations. And my thing for 2022, and I've started doing this on LinkedIn. I started something called Love to Plant because I want to focus on tower gardens and planting seeds of love. And it's not just about, seeds, but it's about, just planting thoughts and because like you said, there's too much fear. We need to radiate love. And then the other thing that I just recently discovered, which is absolutely fascinating, and I found this on Instagram, there's a woman who studies water and putting water on images or words and freezing it and then seeing the water come back with the picture and the image. It's so fascinating. But that gentleman, you probably know, that the Japanese man, I think, who discovered.
Emoto.
Yeah.
Emoto.
So
Yeah,
you think
Dr.
about what you
Emoto.
just said and what we just learned, and that the intention of water changes its crystalline structure or can actually purify water. Dirty water can be purified by sending loving intention, and we are water. So it's just all of it. And then you mix in prayer and God and everything, and it's just so unbelievable. So I love this tonight. This was really good. And
thank you so much for validating that. And I want to just share one last thing with you guys. Again, I am not a scholar of the Bible. My friends out there know that. But if you check out Hebrew, I think it's like 11:3, and I wrote this down. It says, by faith we understand that the extreme universe was formed at God's command, and that what we see does not come from anything that can be seen. Quantum physics, my guys, we're just starting to connect the dots on this. And I hope that this excites you. And so sometimes when I say to you, I'm not hearing anything positive coming out of your mouth, it's because I want you to stop and become aware. All right. So I hope you gleaned something from this tonight. Yeah, okay. Terry just came out of the closet. Okay, Joseph Murphy, The Power of the Subconscious Mind is something that you might want to pick up and read. And thanks for being with me tonight and understanding that awareness is the first law of learning. All right, guys, peace and blessings. See you next week. Hopefully next week we can show up with that amazing recap. Thank you, Pamelia. Oh, happy birthday, Pamelia Parker. Yoo-hoo! And
Happy
Jerry
birthday.
Moran's birthday is today.
Happy birthday. Happy
Oh, that's
birthday.
right.
Hey, everybody.
Jerry's
Woo!
That's right.
birthday, Pamelia.
Good night, guys.